Well, it looks like we are indeed live. Welcome to the Xbox 2 podcast, everybody. I'm one of your hosts, Randall Thor 19, the man with the million. And with me, as usual, Jez Corden of Windows Central. What's going on, buddy?
Hey, pal. Just drinking some coffee, chilling. Got the windows closed because there's mosquitoes everywhere, and I can feel it, man. Summer is coming. And you know what summer means? It means E3 and games. That's what it means.
Yes, E3 and games. And not only with E3 around the corner, you know what also summer brings?
What?
E3 game leaks. Yeah. E3 game leaks. It's an interesting day. I gotta say. And we're gonna talk about a whole bunch of stuff. But first, I mean, how you doing? I mean, how's life treating you, Jez? How's everything going? You know?
All good, man. Windows Central's had its best traffic week ever the last couple of weeks. Well, the last couple of week and a half, I guess now. Every day's been better than the last. I don't know. Just riding that Windows 10 April update and build 2018. Interesting stuff.
Tom Warren said it was boring, though. You know,
boring for some, for most, for normal people maybe. But I don't know, man. There's going to be a dark mode for the Windows Explorer.
And you know what? It's almost like we prophesized the return of Kinect with last episode. Since we talked about it so much, Microsoft was listening and was like, you know what? Let's make Kinect again. But this time, let's tie it to the Azure servers, which is like, all right, as long as it stays far away from Xbox, you can do whatever heck you want. We brought Kinect back, Jez. We did.
It's more like a dev kit now. You never know. You might get a third party making a Kinect and it'll come back.
Oh, don't say that. Come on.
Well, the thing with this Kinect, it's just the camera. Whereas the cool thing about Kinect for me was the microphone. I don't want the camera. Just give me the microphone so I can control my Xbox.
I mean, your perfect scenario is like Kinect being Alexa or Siri or something, right?
That's what they demoed. Build is using Alexa. You can now open Cortana, so you can easily imagine a scenario where you can use Alexa to control your Xbox via Cortana. As convoluted as it sounds, I will take it because I want to control my TV without moving. That's the only goal I have in life, Brand.
The only goal. Okay, you just want to sit there. Yeah. Connect. Get me a beer and order me Domino's pizza.
Yes.
That's what you want. Do you remember that app on the 360 where you could order Domino's pizza?
I had that on Xbox One, man.
Did they?
In the UK. Oh,
I know they had that on the 360.
We had a Domino's UK app where you could do that. So, yeah, but Kinect for games is dead. Kinect build was just some kind of it's a dev kit for like medical use and stuff like that. They showed like a little trailer where like doctors were using it to swipe through X-rays where they got blood all over their hands, so they don't have to touch the screen. So for stuff like that, it has its uses, but not in gaming, in my opinion. So even though I did like some of the Kinect games, but I don't like waggling, dude. I don't like moving.
Nobody likes waggling. Who likes waggling?
I don't know.
Gunstar 75 in the chat says the Xbox controller needs a mic. There you go. What if the mic was in the controller?
That's so obvious. I mean, why haven't they done that? You'd think that'd be like the obvious thing to do, but apparently not. Apparently it's super complicated to have a microphone in the controller.
I mean, that would be the solution to the problem. You don't need a Kinect. You have the mic in the controller, the best controller out there on the market, 100%. You could have all this stuff without the need for Kinect. Well, either way, Kinect is dead. Long live Kinect, right? I guess that's how it goes.
Rip in peace.
Rip in peace, indeed. So what are we going to be talking about today? Well, we're going to be talking about the Walmart E3 game leak, which just showed up out of nowhere. And if it's real or not, me and Jez have an opinion on this, and we'll talk about it. The total sales number for Xbox One has been revealed by EA. And a lot of fanboys are running with the narrative that, oh, it's less than 30 million, Microsoft sucks. But is it a true number? Is that
really a true number?
Is it a new number, or is EA's estimates missing something? Perhaps. And of course, the big news that happened yesterday: Microsoft is not content with AAA titles anymore. No. They're all in on quadruple A.
Oh yeah,
They're
quadruple
building a game studio with quadruple A budget and art and stuff. I don't know, like triple A. When triple A isn't enough, you got to go all the way to quadruple A.
Gotta add another A. What does quadruple A look like, man?
I don't know, man.
But that's the thing. It says we want people with experience in quadruple A gaming. But what is a quadruple A game? I don't even know.
I mean, God of War, maybe something like that. I would guess something that has like top of the line graphics and all that stuff. But first, shout out to the Ozman for the super chat. Super chat's always open. Thanks for the support.
Does God of War have fishing mechanics?
No. You can kind of reach underwater to grab stuff, but Ozman says, Ran Jez love the show. Cheers, mates. Hey, we love doing the show. We have a good time. Thanks for the support. We appreciate it. But before we get into all those juicy topics, like I want to know what's a quadruple A title, and if these Walmart leaks are real, we want to talk about the games we've been playing recently, and maybe plan on playing upcoming. Now, I'm going to ask Jez what I'd normally ask him. I don't know if you saw, but Capcom had their best quarter ever, largely in thanks to Monster Hunter, almost at 8 million.
Yes,
I love that. Playing so Monster Hunter still?
I haven't played it this week, actually, Rand. We're playing it tomorrow on stream, but I've pretty much exhausted all the content now, which is good going, man, because I've had the game since February. It came out in February, so I've been playing it religiously since February, and only just now pretty much exhausted all the content. The only thing left for me to do in Monster Hunter now is grind high-level monsters and fight the RNG gods to try and get gems and stuff like that. That's all that's left for me to do now. So I'm pretty much happy to move on and wait for the next content update. But man, it was such a great game. Like I've had so much fun playing that with my brother and friends and stuff like that. And I'm so happy it's done well for Capcom, because they seem to have really nailed. Well, you know, Monster Hunter's existed for ages, but it's just like it's weird that it took this long for them to bring it to like the sort of, you know, the home consoles rather than just like handhelds and like some of the older consoles. I think there was a PS2 Monster Hunter game. I don't know. This is the thing. I'm not really familiar with the franchise because I've never owned any of the handhelds that it was really popularized on. So
did Gunstar just brought this up in chat, but did you see Rod Ferguson's tweet about maybe including a Burmak on the game? Huh?
Sick, man. They've been doing really cool stuff with the crossovers too. Like costumes from Street Fighter and Dante from Devil May Cry and stuff like that. They didn't just bring the skins over. They like, you know, remade them in HD, and like the Dante's weapon has like unique animations, and they brought emotes over with guns and stuff like that. They've done a really good job on that sort of stuff. But waiting for new content, man. And I probably they're going to announce some more stuff at E3, content wise. But I'm really excited what they're going to do now with future games. It seems like they've figured out the quality thing, because I think Capcom had like a big quality issue for a while, and they seem to have worked through that and arrived at a good formula, and they're turning around now. So I'm excited for the future from Capcom. I hope we see Resident Evil 2 remake at E3, because I'm a huge Resident Evil 2 fan. It's one of my favorite games of all time. So I'm hyped out of my mind for that possibility. Who knows, man? I think they've got multiple games to announce at E3.
I mean, Resident Evil Remake 2, Devil May Cry 5, for sure. I mean, we know the remake's coming, right?
Yeah.
Then we know Devil May Cry 5 is coming, whether or not that's exclusive to PlayStation or has some sort of exclusivity that's kind of been hinted at. There's even talk of Dead Rising 5 again? When Capcom Vancouver and stuff like that. So they're going to be working on another Monster Hunter with how well this one did.
Yeah. Or just add in. There's so much they can do to this game because of the way they built it. It's sort of like it's like a modular game. They can bolt on new parts. They can add new areas. They can just dump new monsters in the game. like at will, and it's like perfect world design for a game as a service, you know. And so far, all the content's been free, you know. They've just sort of been selling gesture packs and emotes and stuff like that. Like not even in loot boxes, just selling them outright. And I've been buying them, man. I've been buying those emotes.
You love them. You love those motes.
I love it when it's not a loot box.
You know what else added emotes to the test server this past weekend?
I'm gonna guess PUBG.
PUBG has emotes now, dude.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, at least in the test server. So you can emote, man. If that makes you happy, you can like emote and dance and do all sorts of stuff.
Great.
Which is kind of funny.
I keep seeing on my Twitter feed, man, like that dude from what is it? Marvel Infinity War?
Oh yeah. How
dancing in Fortnite.
Dude, it's insane how much Fortnite is just blown the F up, dude. Like just it create like all right, PUBG kind of came out of nowhere, right? We kind of agree with on this. It launched March of last year on PC. And it just like took the gaming world by storm. Even though there's been battle royale games before, like DayZ and H1Z1, for whatever reason, PUBG took off. Maybe it's because of the streamers like Shroud and Dr. Disrespect and all those dudes playing it. But whatever reason, it blew up, right? Everyone's like, all right, this is the next phenomenon. And it was such a big deal when Microsoft got that exclusive rights for the game preview version, right? Yeah. And suddenly, out of nowhere, Epic's like, oh, we're doing Fortnite and battle royale. And then PUBG, remember PUBG was like, you can't do that, right? Yeah. You can't copy our idea. Who would have thought when that happened that Fortnite would become the biggest thing in not only gaming but media? Like I see celebrities talking about all the time. Drake's playing with freaking Ninja. Ninja, because of the popularity of the game, is now the biggest streamer on Twitch. And now you have the villain of the biggest movie out there just casually drops by for a mode in Fortnite. And reading the interviews, it sounded like Marvel was the one who approached Epic about it.
It's crazy.
It's ridiculous.
I can't believe. I mean, Unreal, like, well, Epic Games, like, not Unreal, but Epic Games, like, they've had loads of great games over the years, but they haven't really had a huge hit like this. I played Unreal Tournament religiously when I was a kid, and obviously the industry was a lot smaller back then, but I always felt like there was nothing really on that level. Like, Gears of War was a big game, but it was never really huge. And I would never have thought Fortnite was going to be it, especially when Fortnite was announced as this sort of horde mode on steroids, you know, with base building, cartoony graphics and stuff. And I played the base building stuff quite a lot, you know. I got like legendary character on the base building mode, and then they pivoted so hard. Like I've never seen a studio pivot before in my life.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And it's like, oh my god! By the way, now we're the biggest game ever.
It's just amazing to see it happen. Like people thought Destiny was going to do that, and you know, Destiny 2 just released their newest expansion, and I was in a conversation with my buddy John today, and you know, he's like, it's not that bad, and I'm like, no, it's pretty bad. And I'm like, Destiny 2 is going to go down as one of the biggest fuck-ups of all time because they could have been kind of like Fortnite. At least they possibly could have. And at least everybody thought going into this gen or whatever that shared world shooter MMOs would be the big thing, right? But it turns out it's Battle Royale. It's such like just a quick movement, a quick shift when everyone thought this was going to be the popular thing and now this is. And it just blows up out of nowhere. I remember the same thing happening with Minecraft. Like, one day you hear about Minecraft, and you're like, oh, that's kind of cool. The next time you hear about Minecraft, it's at 80 million sold. And you're like, how did this happen? Like, what? And we're just...
That's the thing. You never expect some of this stuff. And like, that's the exciting thing about gaming. You know, I mean, I'm not a huge fan of Fortnite, but like, I appreciate what it is, and I appreciate what it's doing for streaming and the industry and stuff like that. And like, especially like a lot of younger kids and younger audiences, they are gonna grow up having nostalgia for this game. This is gonna be the game that got them into gaming, you know. And the fact that it's free to play obviously contributed a hell of a lot.
And the fact that it's everywhere, it's on Xbox, PlayStation, PC, it's on mobile, it's literally ubiquitous. You can't.
It's a testament, to the Unreal Engine, because like that engine is scalable to all platforms really quickly if you develop for it properly and use compatible middleware across mobile and stuff like that. And it shows that, like, obviously Epic Games are the masters of Unreal because they make the Unreal Engine, but it really is a testament to how powerful that engine is, how fast they were able to deploy across all those platforms. Um, Unity can do that similarly, but it's nowhere near as powerful as Unreal.
And it's driving the industry, like if you listen to the MPD dudes like Matt Piscatella, they're talking about, and even Microsoft themselves in their earnings call were like, yeah, this is all being driven by third party games, mainly Fortnite. Like Fortnite is getting people to buy systems, mainly kids buying it to play with their friends, whether it's PS4 or Xbox. They're getting them to, buy subscriptions, whether it's PSN Plus or Xbox Live. Points cards if they want to buy stuff. It's just, it's amazing to see. Like, we were here for the ground floor because I got a review copy for Fortnite when it was the Horde mode, right? And I'm like, okay, it's interesting, but not really. And then they did Battle Royale, and you saw it, and then like every day you just watched it get bigger and bigger and bigger until here we are. Thanos is dancing in freaking all the clips I see are just of Thanos dancing, and it's just like.
Elgato had a tweet out. Elgato made capture cards for Xbox and PlayStation, right? And they had a tweet out that was just basically just Thanos dancing, and it had like 15,000 retweets.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, and I also saw another interesting stat today that Ninja has better social engagement than the top 4 sports athletes, like traditional sports athletes, or something.
It's ridiculous, dude. It's ridiculous, and I mean, congrats on Epic for pivoting, because they probably would have, if they didn't do that, well, who knows what Fortnite would be now. But it's just, it's amazing to see, because now we're gonna get all the copycats. Now we're gonna get the Call of Duty Battle Royale, the Red Dead Battle Royale, the Battlefield Battle Royale. Like every single major publisher is gonna be like, we need this now, and like they just beat PUBG at their own game. They update all the time. This is the problem with PUBG. I enjoy PUBG a lot, but are they ever slow at updating the game, especially on Xbox?
It shows you, it shows you how difficult it is for a new studio to scale. And that's what, and people were saying like, oh, why did they partner with Xbox and stuff like that? And yeah, obviously there was money involved, but it also shows definitively that they have an issue scaling the game. So the fact that they've only just got emotes in and the game's still really laggy and slow on Xbox and stuff like that.
Like, they have a game preview for their game preview.
Yeah, exactly.
They have a test server that is a different title ID, so it's not the same game. You actually have to download a different game to play this on. Like here's Fortnite out here in the big leagues getting Marvel, and who knows what else. And here's little old PUBG having a game preview game with a game preview game. It's something else, man. It's something else.
It's a shame. But, but for people like me, who prefer the more realistic gameplay and the aesthetic, I think PUBG, it's not like PUBG has to compete with Fortnite, because it caters to a slightly different audience.
No, I mean, you're right.
I think there's room for both of them.
Okay,
Fortnite's free to play, and it's appealing to kids. So obviously it's going to have a much more scalable audience and a casual audience, and casual's where the money is.
Let me ask you this question. Did PUBG make a mistake by not launching on all platforms at the same time? Because I have this feeling that whenever PUBG does come to PlayStation, Fortnite's already dominant. H1Z1's coming out this month. We talked about the other games like Call of Duty and stuff. Like, if they're coming in later, do you think anybody's going to even care about it on PlayStation at that point?
Whether or not it's a mistake is irrelevant, because they just didn't have the team to do it.
That is true. They didn't have the team.
They didn't have the team to scale to both platforms.
So in that call, do you think they made the right choice getting the extra money from Microsoft for doing the deal?
I do. Put it this way. If they tried to target both PlayStation and Xbox, it'd probably be even buggier, So I suppose the focus on Xbox allows them to, make Xbox fans beta test the game for PlayStation when it eventually comes out. But again, I think they can both coexist on both consoles, and I think don't you think there's a market for both? I think there is.
Oh, I mean, sure, if that was literally the only two battle royale games, but that's not going to be the case.
Right. The only
And
battle royale game I'm interested in is Overwatch Battle Royale. When are we
ooh,
getting that? When are we
yeah,
getting that?
what's up with that? Blizzard's usually on top of that stuff.
Yeah, Blizzard, what are you doing? Give us
Come on.
Overwatch Battle Royale. I want to see 100 tracers teleporting everywhere. Oh God, that'd be terrible. Actually, don't do that. Don't do that.
So, moving on from this discussion, I did play a couple of other games this week because I'm planning on playing some Uncharted Lost Legacy and even some Heavy Rain and stuff in the future before Detroit comes out. So I brought back the Ranzini Spotlight to the channel. It's been maybe over a month since I did one, mainly because I've been so busy with God of War and other things. But I played Raging Justice and I beat you up in it.
Yes, they put me in the game.
They put Jez in the game.
Before I was a professional blogger, I joked with the chap near the start of development that he should put me in the game, and he went and did it. And I think he put a load of people in from Twitter actually. Like he was just hitting people up and saying, do you want to be in the game and stuff like that. There's a load of Twitter people in the game.
Yeah. So, if you like Streets of Rage, I would only recommend it if you enjoy that type of game. Otherwise, I'd steer clear because it took me an hour and a half to beat it. There's not much there.
My friend who reviewed it on Windows Central, he absolutely loved it.
Well, I'm saying,
I'm a fan of Streets of Rage and stuff. So
I mean, yeah, I'm a big fan of Streets of Rage and Final Fight and Double Dragon, so it does hit that nostalgia for me. I'm just $15 for maybe an hour and a half worth of stuff with local co-op only. Like if it was online co-op or we could play together, that would be more of a selling point. It's just like
it does seem quite short.
Yeah. And also, I loaded up a game last night, got my 1,000 in it, called Conan Exiles, and I was a chick with big boobs.
Yes, but you weren't naked, were you, Rand?
I mean, I had a loincloth, but
you weren't naked.
I was so that's the thing. So my buddy Omega was telling me if you switch to the UK, you could download the nudity pack, and if you actually picked the dude, you'd have just dongs flopping everywhere.
So you can switch region to get the nudity patch.
Yeah, of course you can.
Oh, I thought it was like hard region locked because in Germany, when a game is banned, it is banned. You can't switch region and get it. It's like fully blocked. So that's interesting.
Well, I mean, I didn't see it.
I'm gonna write that guide then. How to get naked people on Xbox in America.
Yeah,
that's important information.
Just make sure you don't screenshot anything because you get banned from Xbox Live if you do. Yeah. So I played Conan for 20 minutes and got the 1,000 because for whatever reason they decided to leave an admin panel in there and you can activate God mode and spawn everything, and it was like, okay.
Well, that's because you're the server admin.
I know, so kind of made the achievements ridiculous, and it's a game I already had, so I was like, all right, whatever. So got the 1,000 and deleted it. And said au revoir. Later, Conan Exiles. Thanks for the boobs. Thanks for the boobage.
Didn't you? Well, it's primarily a multiplayer survival game. Did you play it by yourself just for the achievements?
No, I mean my buddy hopped in there. My buddy Omega hopped in there, and he was helping me with everything. I mean, you can literally just like go to level, type in 60, you're level 60, and all the level achievements pop up. And like
that's lame.
And it is. I agree.
You're not going to enjoy the game if you play like that.
I was never going to play the game anyways. I couldn't care less about Conan Exiles.
But it's got naked people in it. Isn't that a selling point?
It's got naked people. Hey, Ahmad Sen says, picked up Celeste is pretty challenging, but really great, though. Thanks for the recommendation. I'm glad you enjoy it, man. I really love Celeste, too. Hope more people pick that up. And don't forget about it. You know what I mean? Like, oh, God, that game's so good. But, yeah, so let's move on from games played. So hopefully I have a more diverse selection next week. I'm sure Jez will be playing Monster Hunter or actually Jez probably.
I have been playing a game that I can't talk about.
Oh, I wonder what that game possibly could be. I saw you playing it on Xbox. It shows up.
Yeah, it has Xbox Live
Am
presence
I
in it.
even allowed to say the name?
I don't know,
I
actually.
mean, I mean, anybody looking at your profile on Xbox would know what you're playing.
Yeah, I'm playing State of Decay 2,
Jez is playing State of Decay 2.
and I literally can't say a damn thing about it.
That's right.
But considering Rich Presence is on, I anyone can see. And not only that, but I've got my Xbox linked up to Discord, so everyone on Discord can see me playing it as well. So
That's right.
GG.
Comes out pretty soon. May 18th
22nd.
for the Ultimate Edition, and May
All right,
22nd for the regular release for the $30 version, and also the Game Pass version, I believe. So,
yeah.
you know what? Let's talk about EA for a second here. Not their Microsoft thing. This is about the loot box. I don't know if you saw this stuff, Jez, where they said that they were going to pursue loot boxes despite legislation. What do you think about all that?
Well, it's a lot of money, and
That's a
apparently
ton of money.
a lot of the time, if you are a big company and you've got a lot of money, the law doesn't apply to you. So, they say loot boxes aren't gambling. I aggressively disagree. If you are paying for a chance of a reward, even if the reward isn't money, you are still gambling by definition. So it's going to be interesting to see where all this legislation goes. Personally, I don't really care. I think like whenever the government gets involved in gaming, it can just lead to censorship, and it's probably not a great idea.
I don't want that. I don't want the government anywhere near video games, and I hope that their obsession with loot boxes, and I get the obsession. Like a relevant native in chat said, microtransactions are $1 billion industry. I mean, like, what was it? Activision just posted they made $1 billion just on microtransactions last quarter. All this stuff isn't really going away, but then it's like, oh my, if the government gets involved and that forces them to weigh in, it's like, oh, that's not a good situation.
The EU has shown itself to be resilient to lobbying a lot, which is why we have aggressive privacy laws, aggressive net neutrality laws, because it's not as corrupt as America. Did I just say that out loud?
Are you sure you can say that out loud?
I don't know. I don't care. But in any case, it's not going away because there's too much money, and like you said, it's government getting involved is not always a good thing. It's kind of like be careful what you wish for, and a lot of people be like, yeah, like these laws are great because it'll screw over EA and all this sort of stuff. But at the same time, the recent EU privacy law, I can't remember the acronym off the top of my head. It's something like GPDR or something like that. Which what the law does is it protects. It's supposed to protect youngsters from having their data harvested, which is, it's a great thing in theory, and because with stuff like Facebook selling people's data to companies who use it for nefarious means, like political manipulation and all that sort of stuff, it's screwed up. I personally think that it's screwed up that Facebook can do this and get away with it. So the EU put in all these new privacy laws. However, that has led, instead of leading to some companies changing their privacy habits, they've just blocked European customers instead. So a bunch of older games which don't have the means to update to a more EU regulation friendly system, they've just gone, well, we've got to shut down in Europe because we can't actively block 13-year-olds from accessing our service. We don't have that technology. So it's a double-edged sword, and like sometimes these regulations are a good thing ultimately, but they can often have unintended consequences. So sure, maybe Belgium will ban loot boxes, but then you've got to think of this. Will EA make a special version for Belgium so Belgian games don't have loot boxes, or will they just block Belgium from the market?
I would assume they'd probably just block Belgium.
Exactly. So while all the gamers in Belgium are probably going, yeah, we're going to screw over EA, they're probably going to lose this game. Because
Bethesda does put out normally like a special version of Wolfenstein in Germany. They change stuff around.
Yeah, Germany's a huge market. you know.
True.
But like,
are you saying
EA,
Belgium
but
isn't a
Market
huge
Force,
gaming market, Jez? All the Belgians that are listening
yes,
to the show right now are probably disappointed in you.
probably. But I apologize. But it's the reason why a lot of games aren't localized for Belgium or don't have Belgian voice acting and stuff like that, or Swedish voice acting, or Norwegian and Danish voice acting. It's because market forces, you know, it for them the cost of adding those voiceovers isn't worth it. And to those countries' credit, they often speak better English than America and Britain, so it doesn't matter so much. But when it comes to loot boxes, the margins on not having loot boxes in some of these games is going to be too low to be worthwhile for them to make a special version for those countries. So it's a double-edged sword, man. Regulation can be a good thing, it can be a bad thing if it's done improperly. And politicians are often really stupid and don't know a damn thing about gaming. So I, like you, I prefer if the government was not anywhere near gaming where possible. But I think it's we can in a perfect world, gamers would regulate EA by not buying their games if they were really anti-consumer. But that often just doesn't happen. So what can you do?
I mean, I guess it'd be interesting if like the U.S. Came up with some of these legislations, because EA is not going to block the U.S. They would actually have to do something. So they see some of these smaller countries and they're like, yeah, we're not going to do anything to me. But EA was also in the news for other reasons besides this, Jez. I know you're going to call this fake news, and I did a video about it yesterday.
Well, I called it fake news because of one of your retweets, I think.
Yeah, well, it's not fake. Okay, so here's the thing.
It's not fake, but it's like it's misleading.
I'll explain it.
Explain it.
So EA had their financial call yesterday, and we got a whole bunch of cool information. Anthem is coming March of next year, and Battlefield has a campaign. Yay! Because having a campaign in your freaking video game is newsworthy event now. Like after what happened with Call of Duty and some of this other stuff. So, but also someone asked, "Hey, what's the console install base for PS4 and Xbox?" And EA's like, "You want to know? We'll tell you." They expect 130 million by the end of 2018, and they said there was like 103 million by the end of 2017. So of course, the internet detectives out there are like, "Wait a minute, we can find out Xbox's number because PlayStation always gives us their number." And sure enough, they do. Why do they do it? Because they're winning by a lot. So it was like 76. It was like 73 million, and if you took it, subtracted 103 million from it, you end up with 29.4 million. So everybody's running with this number as what Xbox sold, right? Like, oh my God, it's even less than I thought, because people have been saying 35 million, 40 million, almost now. But, people are like, now everybody, especially if you hate Xbox or don't like them, like, oh my God, it's even worse than anticipated. No wonder Microsoft talks about user engagement numbers and how many people sunk a ship in Sea of Thieves rather than hardware sales, because, 30 million would be pretty bad. But then Z Huge, who's an analyst, a
professional
analyst, he's like, wait a minute. Hold on, guys, 1 second here. And he's like, the EA gave us the numbers for the end of 2016 for Xbox and stuff, and it was like 25 million. And if you take the numbers that they give us for end of 2017, it would mean that Xbox sold 3.8 million, which can't be right because it sold over 3.8 million just in the United States last year. So he's like, hold on 1 second. The numbers don't add up. And he's like, their estimates aren't wrong, but there's a missing core component. So he went on and he talked about they could be not including the Pro and the Xbox One X in their estimates. Or they may not be including like actual install base instead of just selling a console that's not active anymore. Or they're not including a territory like last gen, when in all their estimates, EA never included Japan because, well, EA's games don't sell in Japan. So, people did the math and they figured out that if you subtract what PlayStation sold in Japan, which is 6 million as of last year, and what Xbox sold in Japan, the numbers bear out to 103 million. So Z Huge, he came out and was like, here's what's going on. The estimate's not wrong. EA gets their own estimates, but it's not the full picture, because he also said that Xbox is over 35 million. So what EA is more than likely doing is they're not including Japan numbers, because that would greatly decrease the PS4 numbers by 6 million and barely decrease Xbox numbers at all. And I wanted to do the video because I knew people would people would run with it, and I wanted to present like the whole side of everything, and for people to make their own conclusions drawn off that. So, what do you think, Jazz?
I think that Z Huge is an Xbox fanboy, and that
Ooh,
all of this is just propaganda to attack Sony. I think really Xbox has only sold 5 consoles total, and I own 3 of them. That's what. Nah. I don't know, man. It's just ridiculous. And I know people slight Microsoft for saying the engagement figures, but honestly, console sale figures mean nothing because the margins on them are wafer thin. It's like if you sell a million of something and you get 0 profit, you've still got 0 profit.
true.
Yeah,
I think everybody knows that, Jazz, but they do
people
matter.
People don't know that.
Yes, I think they know that
People-
consoles don't get them. But the idea is you want as many consoles out there because the more people you have in your ecosystem, the more likely to buy the games that give you the cut and the subscription services. So you would want to have 90 million versus 30 million or whatever. Like you would want that.
For sure, but that's my point, is that there's always more to the story. And like the people who focus on console sales figures, they don't really care about the business or the health of the business or whatever. They just want a figure they can slam on like a Twitter thread, so they can have like a little trolling session because their lives are empty and devoid of meaning. So that's the that's the long and short of it. I think it's a non-story, because who cares? I mean, it doesn't matter really.
There it is. But there's something I need to address in chat. Brandon, he hit up Super Chat, which we appreciate. And he mentioned somebody else. Now, normally I don't talk about other people on my channel, right? So I'm going to address this one time. And this is the only time I'll ever talk about somebody else unless they're here on the podcast. He asks, will you guys comment on channels like Crap Gamer who give Xbox fans a bad rap? Okay. This is the only time I'm going to mention someone who can't be here to defend themselves. I don't have a problem with Crap Gamer. I never have. I talk to Crap Gamer quite a bit. He's a cool dude, right? At least the real, Fred. I have nothing bad to say about Crap, and I never will. I'm friends with them, and I'm going to leave it at that. I don't like talking about other people, and this is the last time this will ever happen, no matter how much money you donate. So that is it. Anyways.
If you donate me $100, I'll say whatever you want.
Or you could do that to whatever. I'm just saying I'm not going to.
That out there. I'm not like Ryan. I have no integrity. Give me money, I'll say whatever you want.
Yeah.
I mean that's how game journalism works. Microsoft gives me money, I say I give all their games 5 out of 10. I mean 5 out of 5.
Look, Crap runs his YouTube channel the way he wants to run his YouTube channel. It's not my channel. If he wants to use those titles, it's his channel, not mine. I'm concerned with the content I put out and all the stuff that goes along with it. So yeah, I'm not going to badmouth anybody that's not here to defend themselves. So I'm not going to talk about anybody else about that. So let's move on from that. Yeah. So like I said, people use the that EA thing for their version of the console war, and I always like trying to get to the truth of the matter. So it's like it sounds like EA is just doing what they did last gen. They don't see Japan as important to their overall business, so why would they include the console sold there as part of their business, right? So to them, the console user base is 103 million as of last year because it doesn't include Japan no matter what it sells. So what are you going to do? But hey, the information's out there, and hopefully more people will read it. And, because Z Huge knows what he's talking about, even though if he has blocked a ton of people in the past, right? I know you've had conversations with him. So
yeah, Z Huge is like, it's his job. He works for Nico Partners, I believe they're called. He knows, data is his job. So I think he's like the person to trust. And also he lists all those different scenarios, and I would trust him, even though I have I've had arguments with him in the past. But I think he's a good guy, and he knows what he's talking about. But I just don't care about the sales figure stuff. It's no big deal to me.
Now this one's funny. Mad Jack wants to know if you like to smell your own farts.
Oh God, no.
See, Jez is here to defend himself. So, Jez, do you like to fart in a jar and smell them? You're like, oh man, that smells so good.
I nearly gagged then. Just the thought of it.
You ever see that South Park person?
Yeah.
That episode where they did that? Yeah.
What is that from? What episode is that?
Because Mad Jack says you sound like that type of person.
I don't know, man. I have mad imposter syndrome. I have no idea what I'm doing. So,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Well,
people think whatever they want about me. I don't care.
Yeah, so we have 420 people watching, but
420 Blazer.
I only see 100 likes, guys, and 4 dislikes. If you enjoyed the show so far, make sure you show your support by hitting that like button. It's pretty easy. It's pretty simple to do, and subscribe if you're new as well. So I mean, it doesn't cost anything. Helps out the channel a lot though, and I really do mean that because the likes, the engagement. They actually help out quite a bit. People aren't lying when they say hit that like button because it actually does mean quite a bit.
I feel bad for YouTubers sometimes. I mean, if this is like the job you want to do, you're kind of at the mercy of Google's algorithm.
Yeah, that is true.
Some people complain. Some people complain about clickbait titles, but the problem is that is often what YouTube's algorithm favors. So it's like, what do? Do you like damage your channel's visibility? Or do you have more agreeable titles? I think the only thing that should matter really is the content of the video, but people rarely go past the title for whatever reason.
So I kind of like that's why and hopefully people appreciate it when I do my videos. I never ask in the beginning of the video to like or subscribe. I know that's what you're supposed to do, right? You're supposed to do that. That's what the YouTubers tell you. Like, you got to remind everybody to hit the like and subscribe button at the beginning. But I always hate that because it's like,
it's cringy.
There's nothing there for me to like yet. I haven't watched the video. So I always ask at the end of the video, it'd be like, hey, if you did like this, make sure you leave a like, even though I know from the analytics that obviously not everybody watches to the end of the video, but everybody watches at least the beginning of the video. But I do things on YouTube like how I want to see. Like I make longer videos, and some people will blast me for it, but I like watching longer videos on YouTube. I like more thought out and analysts than rather just like a 4-minute video just giving me the news. I'd rather at least have some thought about why the person thinks that way, what it could possibly mean. So the video's longer, and that's what I like to watch on YouTube. So that's what I like making on YouTube. But I don't know, like the like button, yeah, like the engagement stuff, like all that's super important because the more engagement you get, the more likely you get thrown in the algorithm, the more likely that it'll get recommended, all that stuff.
The algorithm gods.
I know, right? Google's algorithm. Although the podcast is a little bit different because it is a long show, but most in like 99% of the videos, I always do it later. All right, so E3 leaks, Walmart. This one's pretty good. You know what? Like I kind of saw this and I'm like, okay, is this made up? But it was really legitly on Walmart's website in Canada. Or like somebody went through and added this stuff up there, right? And people at first were like, oh, this can't be right. I mean, they're talking about Forza Horizons with an S5. Like, okay, they skipped 4, right? And it's like, okay, well, wait a minute here. Like, is this legit?
Microsoft did skip Windows 9.
That is true. They did.
Maybe that's just how they roll, man.
But the more I look at the list, and I'm like, okay, sure, like, yeah, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Splinter Cell. I mean, how many leaks have we heard of Splinter Cell recently? Division 2, Last of Us, Just Cause 4, Destiny Comment, which I would assume is the thing. But the thing that kind of is this Rage 2, right? And me and you were talking before the show, and you're like, you thought the leak was at least legit because Rage 2 on there, and nobody would make up a fake listing with Rage on it, right?
Yeah.
That's what you said. And then I told you about how Bethesda's PR is having a field day with this, right? Pete Hines is going on. It literally tweeted or retweeted the Walmart account and said, "This is why we can't have nice things." And the Rage 2 official Twitter account is like, holy crap. Like, and it was going through and listing all this stuff, and then you get in a few of the threads, and the insiders pop out and they're like, "Yeah, Rage 2 is real. I know it's not being worked on by ID. It's being worked on by somebody else. You know, it's still working on Doom 2, but it's like, oh, wait a minute.
It's not being worked on by ID.
I mean, supposedly, if you believe some of these people that come out and say, I don't know, but apparently it's an independent studio, and I don't know. It's just, I look at this and I'm just like, if nobody said anything, I'd be like, yeah, it's probably fake. But then Bethesda's having fun with it, and like judging from their tweet, it's like, did they just out all these games from their competitors? You know, like, because it's not only that, but it's like, okay, well, Microsoft with Gears 5, Ubisoft with Splinter Cell, a new Assassin's Creed. I mean, some of these, I mean, you would know, but
it's Hines is a rock star, man. He doesn't care. I think it's probably true. It's like, it'd be so strange, put it like that, if it wasn't real. The fact that it all came out at the same time. Like, what? There's some guy in Walmart's, like, I don't know, website database team who just decided, you know what, I'm going to put a load of fake games up. By the way, I'm a huge Rage fan, so there's Rage 2. I'm going to whack that right in there. So I think it's real, man. I mean, obviously Forza Horizon 5 is probably not right, but a lot of the time when Microsoft announces these games, it'll be just like the franchise. It probably just like came through as Forza Horizon, and they just didn't know that there'd been a third one or something, or I don't know. Maybe they just Googled it, and the first thing that came up was Forza Horizon 4 rumors or something. I don't know.
Probably, you know, they took it down from the website. I mean, it's possible that it's just some dude having a laugh. It was like, wouldn't this be funny, right? And put all this stuff up there, but I mean, nothing really. I mean, Final Fantasy Remake being on Xbox, but that was already known. I'm just more. I mean,
really huge newsworthy there.
The only thing that was interesting is Rage 2, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, Gears 5's on there, which you'd think would be too soon, but maybe it isn't Gears 5. Maybe it's Gears spin-off rumor. So
possibly, it very well. Like, where's Halo though? Where's that Halo though?
Where's that Halo?
Where's that Halo though?
Oh, that's a bit of a teeth dryer.
Where's Crackdown? Is Crackdown already on here?
Crackdown's probably already on there.
Oh,
probably been on there for years at this point, but
that's the thing. E3's awesome, love it, right? And man, the leak season leading up to it, just as good sometimes.
Yeah. Hey, some people don't like those leaks though. They consider them to be spoilers, which I appreciate.
No, you know who's really like that is Maka. Well, not like, because not so much like beforehand, but like the day of or the day before. He's like, I swear to God, Rand, if you tell me what's happening at the Microsoft conference, the day I'm going to see it, fuck you, right? Like, and I get it. Like, you're going to watch it, because I did that in 2016. So when I went to E3 in 2016 with like Southbound and Jeremy Downer and all that stuff, right? As we were going there, that morning, the entire press conference leaked. Do you remember? Like, the entirety of it. The only thing that didn't leak was the controllers, the Xbox custom thing that James was working. Design lab, right? So that was the only thing that leaked. So here I am, super early in the morning, getting ready to go to the conference center. I'm on my phone looking at the leaks, and Mock is just like, I swear to God, you better not watch don't tell me anything, right? I can't believe you were going to watch the show and you're literally looking at spoilers for it. And I'm like, well, it may not be true, but sure enough, it was like 100% true. Yeah. You know, like, I can't help myself sometimes with that stuff, you know?
Yeah, I just like to know. I'm kind of usually when I'm at E3, I'm sitting there in the conference hall. I'm not even watching the show. I'm looking at my laptop, writing stuff as they're announcing it. So because I'm not going this year, it'll be nice to just sort of sit back and actually just watch it for fun, you know?
That is true. Me and Jez might be having a live reaction show since you're not going to E3.
That'd be cool.
And
actually, is that NDA? Oh, never mind.
Oh, was Jez about to leak something?
Never mind.
Well, You guys almost got some information.
This is why coffee's really bad. I almost leaked something then. But
Yeah, and I'd be in trouble too because it's my channel.
Yeah, you get sued. In fact, I'd blame you. I just say that wasn't me. That was Rand talking.
Yeah, that was Rand. That wasn't
American
me.
accent.
So I mean, I guess we'll find out. I mean, but the way Bethesda is playing with it, it's like they're having fun with it, and it's just like, man, I don't know. Like,
Did you play Rage? Did you play Rage?
Yeah, I played Rage. Of course, I did. It was like 4 discs on the 360.
Yeah,
I did like Rage. I didn't really care for the driving aspect of it. Like, you had to do a whole bunch of races, but the way the game ended so suddenly, like, I mean, I'd like to go back to that world. It was cool. It had John Goodman in it, you know?
Yeah, I never finished it. I was all over Fallout hype at the time still. And I was kind of like Rage. I kind of felt like Rage didn't know whether it wanted to be serious or comedic. Like I couldn't. It was just kind of messy in that sense. But I think like overall, I really quite enjoyed it, and I'd probably go back to it. Is it on backwards compatibility?
You know, interesting. Microsoft just sent out a PR about or earlier about the EA statement. Did you see this?
Oh, what did they say?
The spokesperson told Variety that the projections are inaccurate. Regardless, we are focused on delivering amazing gaming experiences to players on all devices, and engagement is our measure of progress. We just announced a record start to the year with Xbox Live monthly users up 13% to 59 million. Did you hear about this?
No, I didn't hear about that. I guess they gave that statement to Variety. I mean, obviously it's wrong because there's a huge explain why it's wrong. But I mean that's where it's important for Microsoft because they talk about engagement because it's better margins than console sold. So like, whereas PlayStation has that market of like school kids saying they need a PlayStation because all their friends have PlayStations. The margins on those kids is really bad. So Microsoft focuses on engagement because engagement is where the money is. And to be fair, Sony probably has higher engagement than Microsoft because they've got more consoles. But you know, it's less of a sexy number in some ways, but investors understand. So, and that's, you know.
Right. Well, we have a request from Irrelevant Native with the super chat. Thank you for the support. He says, for 1 minute, swap accents. Chat, you're welcome. So he wants you to speak with my accent, and he wants me to speak with your accent.
Oh my God.
I don't even know. Can I do a Jez accent? It'd probably sound like Dealer's Australian accent. Can I even? Could you even do an American accent, Jez?
Not on command. I can do one, but not on command. I don't know why. I used to be in a band, and I sung with an American accent for some reason.
Hey, mate, we're gonna put a shrimp on the Barbie. No, that's Australian.
That's Australian.
I don't know how to do UK.
Shrimp on the Barbie? With what? With what son? With what son is there gonna be a barbecue?
I can't. I can do Australian maybe. I'm not sure I can do a UK accent. This is tough, man. I honestly can't. I honestly can't do the accent.
How much did he pay?
$5.
Oh my God, I feel guilty now. Sorry, I can't do it, mate.
Do it. Can't do it.
Can't do it, mate. I can't do it.
Is that your impersonation of me? I see how it is.
You sort of add a Y to the A. It's like A. It's kind of nasally American accents, to be honest. Oh my God, this is terrible. Moving on.
Rose Rumford says, super chat. Thank you. He says, I got 5 on it. We'll work on Jez will work on his US accent, and I'll work on my UK accent.
Yeah, at the start of next week's show, Rand, we need to practice those accents, okay?
Yeah.
And we'll intro the show in those accents. How about that?
Hey mate, I just got done playing State of Decay 2. I can't.
That's so bad. So bad.
I can't do it, man. I'm just not good enough. I'm not a voice actor, you know. I can't. They want you to sing now, dude.
Oh God, no. I
Oh,
actually
God.
have I wrote like several songs about video games. I wrote a song about Halo 2 when I was a teenager, or in my late teens. Late teens? Yeah, I think so. I wrote a song about Halo 2 versus Half-Life 2 because everyone at school used to argue which was better. So,
You know, there's also a whole bunch of American accents. That's true. There's the California accent. There's my accent, which is Chicago. Or as
California.
Ross later says, Detroit. And I'm not from Detroit. I'm from Chicago, so it's probably the Chicago accent. And then there's like the Southern accent and the New York. Yo, you walking in, like that. Like Tim Dog. The Tim Dog is like, you
Tim Dog
walking in front of
accent.
me. Yo, Xbox. Xbox is the best box. Like the kind of like New England, New York thing. And then the California was like, yo, bro. I'm gonna hook up that Xbox. I don't know. Like I'm not really good with accents.
Wow. Wow.
Hey man, New Yorkers don't sound like that. I don't know. See, we're gonna get in trouble because people think I'm like,
Insulting them.
you should. You know what?
I feel insulted.
You know what?
Actually.
My
On
buddy
the
Gopher does a great Italian accent that he got in trouble
Right.
for. Yeah, I wonder if he's actually watching right now.
Oh dear.
So let's move on. So what were we talking about before this?
I don't know.
We were talking about the Walmart stuff, right?
Oh yeah, Rage 2.
Rage 2. Obviously, this is not everything that would be at E3 if it was true. Of course, there'd be a lot more.
Yeah.
So if it was true, I kind of think Rage 2 is real. By the way.
Yeah, I think Rage 2 is real. Makes sense, right?
And the all the other stuff isn't really shocking. Final Fantasy VII Remake was always coming to Xbox. It was just PlayStation first. So like nothing truly like outrageous is on that list. So yeah. But you know what? Let's talk about let's talk about the quadruple A game situation that Microsoft finds himself in. Quadruple A, not
games. I'm so ready for quadruple A games.
yeah. When AAA gaming isn't enough, quadruple A gaming. So this isn't people in my video that I did about it was like, hey, typo ran, and I'm like, ain't my typo.
See, dude.
I didn't do.
I tell you, man. I tell you, I put AAA in my title, not quadruple A, because I didn't want people saying, "Oh, Jez typo." But the thing is, I put AAA, and people were still saying, "Oh my God, Jez typo." They said quadruple A, so you couldn't win. Couldn't win on that one. Thanks, Microsoft.
Thanks, Microsoft. No, right? I know you wrote this story up for Windows Central, and obviously everybody is sourcing Reset Era because that's where the information kind of came from before the job listing was taken down. It is, if you do click on the link, it is expired, which could mean a whole bunch of different things. Like maybe the application process is finally over and they're in the selection process to pick somebody new. Maybe all the media attention that came down on it yesterday wasn't exactly what Microsoft wanted, so they removed it. I mean, there are a whole bunch of different scenarios. I mean, I've seen people say that it's fake. Microsoft's not putting up a fake job listing on their careers page, guys. I know some people want to say that.
I know that it's real because, well, I'm pretty sure that's real because I pinged PR and asked for a comment, and they said, sorry, no comment. So, like, that says to me, I mean, if it wasn't real, they would have said right then and there that it was a mistake. So, to me, that says that it's real and it's something that's going to be announced at E3, a new studio, or around E3. Maybe not on stage because stage will be all about the games, but it's going to be announced around then. It's clearly something that's going to be announced eventually. So,
well, I mean, that's what they said when they hired Daryl Gallagher to be part of the Microsoft Studios executive leadership team. I theorized in my video that he's running a new studio, right? And both him and Matt Booty said we'll have more to share at E3. Now, this job listing is specifically for a studio out in Santa Monica, where Daryl Gallagher worked for Activision in Santa Monica, and I think where he actually lives. So it's right in his neck of the woods, presumably. So you would be like, hey, if you're running a studio, you're going to live by it. And if it's not at Redmond, it's over here. Well, that makes perfect sense considering that's where he was before. So all this stuff's kind of lining out. Yeah. And when you read about what it is,
yeah,
I mean, one of the things is you must have experience shipping high quality titles at quadruple A standards, experience managing internal teams and external development studios across the world, a knowledge and understanding of the process of building new IP. So it sounds like a like super studio, maybe like kind of like Gears of Coalition that's going to build a gigantic IP. Now, I had heard that Microsoft classifies the A's as like budget. So if like a AAA game to them is it has a budget over like 20 million, you know what I mean? Whereas
Yeah.
like a quadruple A game to them has a budget approaching 100 million. So that like that's at least what I was told, which makes a lot of sense. If you know, because that's usually how the budgets are for those type of things. But um,
What I find interesting or curious is, are they just making this studio first, or do they have a compelling concept in mind to make the IP, or are they building the studio first and then decide on what to make, or do they have the intriguing concept, which maybe Daniel Gallagher brought with him and said, "Look, I want to make this game. I need $100 million. Let me do it." Yeah, well, like, not as bluntly as that, maybe, but you know what I mean. I wonder, like, is this going to be fresh IP, new IP completely? Is this going to be, um, bringing back an old IP, nurturing an existing IP that didn't do so well, maybe like Recore or something? What do you think? What would you like, and what do you think?
I think it's going to be something of the caliber of like Rise of the Tomb Raider. Like I don't know, from what his experience is running that studio is probably some third person adventure game. Uh, Something along those lines. I think it's going to be a new IP as well because I don't.
Here's wild card, Rand. I've got a wild card for you now, which I just thought of because you mentioned Rise of the Tomb Raider. What if they bought an IP from another studio and plan to use that?
It's possible. I mean, they did. Okay, so like they had Microsoft Vancouver, which they turned into Black Tusk, Black Tusk, and they were working on Shanghaiist, and then they bought the IP from Gears for from the Coalition, and they started making the Gears of War. So it's possible that Microsoft go out and purchase an IP from somebody else that's big enough, and then they can form the studio around it to make it. I mean, that would kind of seem like Microsoft's MO. You build a studio and then make the games that come out from it. Like 343 does Halo, Turn 10 does Forza, Gears does Coalition,
Yeah.
Rare does whatever Rare wants to do, more than likely. So yeah, I mean, I guess that's a possibility, is that they go out and buy an IP from somebody and then build the team to make it. Probably hire a lot of people that were making it originally,
Like the Coalition.
Yeah, like the Coalition.
I guess they've had success with that model. I think, like, even though Gears, wasn't it wasn't God of War's level in terms of critical reception, but it was a pretty successful game for them over time, with the updates and the games as service stuff, and I suppose the loot crates, done. But maybe they and like Rod Ferguson, I'm paraphrasing here, but I'm sure Rod Ferguson said things like, we wanted to take a conservative approach to Gears of War 4 to let people know we could handle the IP properly, and we'll be more ambitious with Gears of War 5 and stuff like that. So theoretically, they've had good success with the Coalition and that model of buying an IP, building a studio on top of it, and then building it out to a service. So maybe they do something like that, or they could bring back an older game, which would make sense in a service type universe, because I've heard that the MechAssault IP has now come back to Microsoft.
Ooh.
Well, it's complicated. They always owned it. They always owned the right to make MechAssault video games. However, they had licensed the MechAssault brand for video games to the company who are making MechWarrior 5 and MechWarrior Online, whose name I can't remember. Now, that license is due to expire, at which point Microsoft would get the rights to make MechAssault games again. And for my money, that would be a great IP to build out for the modern era because you've got all the different mech parts you could put in. And I know people are going to groan at this because it sounds like a nightmare. And maybe it wouldn't be like this, but you can envisage a world where you get like mech loot crates and you get all the different mech parts and stuff like that. And it's an obvious multiplayer service game, whether it's got loot crates or not. It's an obvious game for that sort of service. But they've got tons of IP like that could turn into services.
Well, yeah, and Show and W in the super chat says Microsoft owns Perfect Dark. They could do that.
Exactly, and there's that too. There's so much they could do. Do they own Quantum Break, or is that Remedy?
Yes, they do. They own Quantum Break. They don't own Alan Wake.
They don't own Alan Wake. Okay.
Yeah, Alan Wake
IP
is
all right. I got it mixed up. So I guess they could, they could conceivably. I don't think they'd do that with Quantum Break because Remedy has a very unique signature. But I do think like there's value in bringing back an IP like MechAssault, and I also think there's value in starting fresh and making something new because I've actually got an article coming out tomorrow. Quick plug about this, and I think if you're making a new studio, there's value in letting them express their own creativity because for the studio's culture, it's like they own that game. Whereas if you bring in an existing IP, it's kind of like with Halo, making 343. And I'm not saying that 343 isn't passionate about it because obviously a lot of those people did work at Bungie as well. But it's like if you're making a new studio with a new team, maybe making a new IP is where you build up that culture and that sense of ownership of that IP. So I don't know, man. Like the Coalition, most of the people who work at the Coalition used to work for Epic Games. So
right, I know, and part of this is I think maybe people coming to the eventual realization that Microsoft said they're going to build first party. They wanted to. We've talked about this. We've talked about before how they were hamstrung by certain people in the organization,
which got confirmed recently on Reddit, by the way.
Right, and which we've been saying that for a while. Of course, this situation never should have happened in the first place, and the people at Xbox aren't blameless entirely. Of course, there's all blame to go around for everybody, but them building new studios is a sign of what they've been saying. Now, I, for one, would love to see a new studio because I want more content to come out from Microsoft. I think, number one, I think it has to be good, but it just kind of proves what they're saying. The only thing is, the only bad thing is that this is going to take a long, long time to come out. Like, if they're building the studio now, and let's just say it's built up, fully functional in 2019, you're probably looking at a game in 2022 or 2023. Realistically, 3 years after it's formed and start working on, if not even longer. So it's while that's great that, hey, they're putting the money where their mouth is, it's just man, it's why'd you wait so long to do it? Despite even knowing the reasons why, which we've talked about, it's people don't want to hear 2024, Jazz. You know what I mean?
But that's the thing, man. Most people at this point in the gen, most people who are really concerned about that, they already own a PlayStation for exclusives. So it doesn't matter a great deal. People who are happy with the lineup now, and Microsoft can keep monetizing its existing base, even if it doesn't sell any more consoles, which they are going to still sell consoles. And if they didn't sell any, they'd still have enough people engaged to Xbox Live to keep making money and keep them ticking over until they are ready to really, hit the gas and start releasing the Halo 6, Gears of War 5, whatever that spin-off is, new Forza and all these, and this new game or whatever that is, and who knows what else they got cooking up, because it's not like Microsoft doesn't have anything we don't know about. They've got to have some secrets up their sleeve. I mean, I would hope so. God, I would hope so. But
I mean, yeah, true. And this would just go further along to prove that Microsoft is doing exactly what they've said they were going to do. You know what I mean? Build new studios. I mean, we already know they're hiring tons of people for first party. Rare's over 200. when they were at 100 for the duration of Sea of Thieves development. 343 is on a huge hiring spree. They're over 500 people. So it's like they're hiring plenty of people for the first party, but people wanted to see Microsoft go that extra step to build a new studio, with high caliber talent, because you can go out there and you can get people from Naughty Dog, you can get people from Rockstar North, you can get people from everywhere as long as the pay's good. Like you can go out there and you can headhunt and get these people to build your game. Now, it may not stay there, but it happens all the time. People shift around companies all the time. I mean, I've seen this. People say, why don't Microsoft go after Amy Hennig? She was in charge of Uncharted for a long time. They ousted her for Uncharted 4, and then she was with EA doing that Star Wars game with Visceral, and then that got shut down and Visceral closed. It's like, here you go, like one of the creators of one of the biggest franchises out now, you could essentially put her in the creative director role and give her a studio, possibly, or maybe not. I'm just saying.
Why was she ousted, though?
I mean, who knows the real reasons why. I'm just saying, like, the talent exists. The problem is you have to spend money to get that talent. You know what I mean?
And that's what Microsoft hasn't been able to do.
Yeah, because they haven't had the money to be able to do it. And people get like, hey, like you're damage controlling, but it's like literally everything me and Jez have been saying for months, almost this entire year, is exactly what's happening. And it's just the truth of the matter.
Yeah, there's no damage control. It's like going by PlayStation. Seriously, there's no damage control here. It's like, it's just facts. It is what it is. People always say this to me, where's the games now? And it's like, dude, time travel hasn't been invented yet. They screwed up. Deal with it. Get a PlayStation. There's no damage control. It's just facts. And that's fine. Shit happens. But Microsoft will recover from this because they have a huge amount of money, and it's not like Xbox is doing badly either. So they can rely on third party. They can rely on the money from all those Fortnite microtransactions and God knows what else. They can rely on that for the short term. They have time to fix this. And that's not what hardcore Xbox fans want to hear, but that's just a fact.
Yeah, I mean, it's even something I don't even want to hear. It's like, it's one of those things where it's like it should have never have been like this in the first place.
But it is.
It is, but that speaks to a larger problem at Microsoft and Xbox, that it was allowed to get to this point.
It sucks. That's why he's gone though. That's why Terry Morrison's gone.
Yeah, but I can't just blame literally. It's like the quarterback situation, the quarterback in football or whatever. And, I know you don't know anything about football, actual football, right? Not like stupid soccer or anything.
Dude, I know loads about football.
But
Tom Brady, I know him.
Everybody knows Tom Brady.
He was on South Park.
The whole idea of the quarterback is like he gets all the credit when the team's going good, and then all the blame when the team's going bad. And it's like right now, it's like all the blame is literally on Terry Myerson. And when it's like, maybe that's true, or maybe it's just that situation where like he's just being vilified. I mean, Phil himself has said, like, I'm not blameless in all this. I sat in those meetings where we brainstormed the Xbox One and decided Kinect was to be part of it. And I mean, he's just as much as to blame as anybody else for this.
The thing is, though, fine. I mean, you can say that, fine. But the thing is, the amount of fail in Windows Devices Group goes far beyond Xbox. Yes. Cortana is a fail. They had a head start on voice connected assistants. They gave the whole damn market to Google and Amazon. That is huge fail on Terry Morrison, and arguably bigger than the fail with Xbox, frankly, because voice control assistants is like going to be the future of computing for a lot of people. And massive fail. They screwed up mobile. Another massive fail. Microsoft used to be the leading. Windows used to be the leading operating system, and now it's Android. That's a huge fail, and that's on Myerson. So, like, people can say, like, oh, you can't blame Myerson for everything. But, dude, that guy it was him who was in charge of all this stuff that is now bad. Look at Skype. Skype used to be the leading in voice communication, and they basically conceded the whole market to Discord, a small indie startup. It's maddening how much stuff has gone wrong under Myerson. And so I think I am perfectly happy to blame him for a lot of this stuff, because it's not just Xbox we're talking about here. Surface struggled, mobile dead, Cortana basically dead, and all this other stuff. Skype got Mike. You think it's bad that Microsoft releases engagement figures for Xbox? They don't even release engagement figures for Skype, man. God knows how bad Skype's doing. Nobody knows. Skype is like scary how probably dead that is. The only parts of Microsoft that are doing well, like really super duper well, is Azure and Azure and Office. And the guys who ran Azure and Office are now one of them is the CEO, and the dude who's running Office is now running pretty much all the non-Xbox stuff, and Phil Spencer's running all of gaming. So, you know, the team has been completely reorganized, and I'm passionately optimistic about the future of Xbox with Phil leading it. Whether I'm wrong or not remains to be seen, and maybe in a few years everyone can say I was an idiot. But from everything I've seen, following Windows, the Microsoft ecosystem, as led by Myson, leads me to happily blame him for all this stuff. I've watched the ecosystem crumble under Myson, and not just Xbox, the whole thing. The fact that Xbox is even doing as well as it is a testament to Phil, because I think without Phil, it'd be doing so much worse because of Myson, truly. So that's my thing, dude.
Yeah, I mean, I hear you. I'm just, I want to hear the announcement at E3. Be like, hey, we heard you. We're building a new studio. Daryl's running it. This is what we're kind of working towards. It'll be a little bit away, and you know, I want to see the stuff that Microsoft. I mean, I know they're working on stuff. I know they got huge projects building. It's not rumor where it's like Microsoft is legitly trying to spend tons of money to go after next gen, but people don't want to believe that until they see it, right? People need to see it in front of them, and
that's why you should buy. If you are someone who isn't happy with Xbox, seriously, there's a great console out there for you. It's called the PlayStation 4, and that's me channeling my inner Don Matrick for you. But
Jesus.
It's true, you know. If you want those sort of experiences, you can just trade in your Xbox and get a PlayStation, and maybe come back when Xbox has the things you want. So we live in a free market economy. Nobody's locked to Xbox. You know, the people who are still mad are people who are mad at people who still like Xbox. People get mad that I still like Xbox, and it's like, why do you like Xbox? Xbox is bad. And it's like, why do you care what I like? You know, I'm quite happy playing my multiplayer games on Xbox Live. You know, leave me alone. You know, I got so many games to play in my backlog. I don't need what PlayStation has right now. Maybe that'll change in the future, but right now I don't need it. And it's the same for millions and millions of people. You know?
Yeah.
My cousin doesn't even know what God of War is. She's quite happy to play Fortnite all the time, you know? Them's the ropes, dude.
Them's the ropes. So do you want to take questions before we end the show, Jez?
Yeah, let's take a few questions.
Yeah. So hit us up with your questions if you got anything that you want me and Jez to answer. And we will happily do so. I wonder what. Hopefully, someone doesn't say like, "Hey, speak in Jez's accent again." You know what I mean? Let's see here. Rand, have you started Persona 5 yet? Virgil wants to know. I have not. My buddy Gopher has, and I've been thinking about it, but I got so many other games I need to play first. Persona was always one of those things where I bought it because it was on sale. I thought I would watch it, you know what I mean? Or play it, essentially. And I'll get to it when I have like a hole in my schedule. I will definitely check it out because Gopher says it's really good. So I have so much on my Xbox and so much on my PlayStation. You know what I'm saying? It's just
has no game. What are you talking about?
Yeah. Well, I mean, regardless, I've just it just haven't gotten to it yet. Hopefully, I'm looking more towards the summer, maybe June, July, not when there isn't something big coming out because I'll be playing State of Decay 2 this month and Detroit Become Human, so I'll be playing a lot there. So what else we got here? Joseph Baby wants to know: do you think the term quadruple A will garner unreasonable expectations? Possibly, but that's how Microsoft terms games with a high budget. That's just how they refer to them internally, from what I've been told.
Well, this is the thing. Like, a job listing isn't supposed to be marketing. That we weren't supposed to see that. That's why PR pulled it down and wouldn't give me a comment. That was supposed to be trying to make a developer excited. Oh my god, they want to build a quadruple A game.
Quadruple A, not just triple A, quadruple.
Yeah, that wasn't a marketing thing, and that's why Xbox pulled it down. Microsoft has had, just to offshoot on that point, Microsoft's had pretty, complicated job of it when it comes to managing expectations. We talked about this last week, right? Like sometimes they just, when they revealed Recore with that slick CGI trailer, I immediately thought, wow, big budget AAA game, gonna be awesome. And then what we got was like basically an indie game, pretty much. And it was a fun game. Fun game for the price, I should say. But it's like that CGI marketing trailer really, really overhyped my expectations. And like it's the same. It's the same for a lot of stuff they do. Like their marketing department seems to have a bigger budget than the games department a lot of the time. So, yeah, I think Microsoft's going to be a little bit more. I don't know what the word will be, like conservative when it comes to managing expectations in the future. So I do think they have an issue with that. But yeah.
So Gunstar75 wants to know: Forza Horizon 4, Japan versus UK, which could be better. So
this Scandinavia.
Ooh, I would prefer Japan, mainly because it's an area we haven't seen. We've already done Europe in Forza Horizon 2. You know what I mean? We did France. I'm not particularly interested in the UK, so Whoa!
You did not just go there.
I'm talking about in terms of racing and Forza. Like Japan would be really cool. It would add some really cool like neon lights.
I tell you why the UK isn't going to happen. The UK has no straight roads, so like the whole game would be like driving around tiny corners.
Yeah, but I mean that's
and off the M6.
Forza, I mean, you're constantly driving off road in Forza Horizon. I would prefer.
No, there's no off road, man. It's just concrete buildings.
Or maybe it's multi-tier. Maybe there's Japan, UK. Maybe you go to different places.
Nah, I tell you why. I don't think it's either of those. I think it's Scandinavia, and I'll tell you why. Is because the code name for Forza Horizon 4 is Forza Voss, which is VOSS, which is a region in Norway or something, I'm told. So I think, and because comparing it to previous Forza codename games, they have hinted at the location in the codename for Forza before. So either it's just a completely random word, or it could literally be Norway, Scandinavia, that kind of region. I don't know.
Right.
Everyone always thinks Japan. Like everyone said, the next Assassin's Creed would be in Japan.
That's the wish. Kratopsy wants to know if I'll play Dark Souls Remastered. He'll be on his PC. Nope, not playing Dark Souls Remastered. No interest. Smiles or Daggers wants to know: don't you like the innovation that Microsoft gives, like co-op pilot mode on the controller and sharing a mixer with controls? Yeah. Microsoft services and features are unparalleled. The co-pilot mode is great for disabled gamers, or maybe someone who wants to play with their kid and sharing the controller or whatever. And the share controller thing on Mixer is pretty cool. Hopefully they flesh it out more and it's a bigger thing. But yeah, they do some great innovation stuff there. Let's see here. Ross Slater wants to know if you can do it in a Southern American accent, Jez.
Oh God. I don't know, man. I feel like if I did that, I would really offend people. So maybe best not.
Next, Dr. 1851 wants to know: why doesn't Xbox rest its big three franchises and give them an extra year? I love Forza, but I need a damn break, and I don't want another awful Gear spinoff. Well, I mean, if Halo's next year, then they gave Halo quite a bit of time.
If it's next year,
it's not this year. I don't think it's this year.
No.
So if it's 2019, that means they give it an extra year.
Dude, what if Microsoft is like doing some kind of amazing bait and switch here and sort of downplaying everything, and then they announce Halo 6, and by the way, it's released right now. What if, man?
They would never do that with Halo. They might do that for some other title, but they wouldn't do that with Halo. Because they couldn't, unless it was a digital only title. I mean, which it wouldn't be, because it would be physical as well, because you're not going to miss on those sales. Like, copies would be in the stores beforehand. So they legit couldn't do a surprise launch like that for Halo or any of their big franchises.
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, I agree that some of their titles need a break. Like, I love Forza Horizon, but it's like every other year, and at this point, it's like I hope they change it up a little bit somehow. And I'm not really that big of a fan of motorsport, but it seems to be working for them like every other year. So we'll have to see how Halo improves and what they do with Halo given an extra year of development. We'll have to wait and see. But I agree they should get more breaks. And I think they don't, because Microsoft hasn't really built anything to take their places. Like, this would maybe be a different story if Rise was a franchise and Sunset Overdrive was a franchise and Quantum Break was a franchise and Alan Wake was a franchise. And
I think this calls back to the reasons why they are trying to build out a new studio. It's because, like, they need those franchises so they can give their other games a break. Like, the lineup was supposed to be, we were supposed to have Scalebound. You know, we were supposed to have Phantom Dust by now, the remake of that, which actually looked half decent in the pre-alpha leak footage, but all that stuff just didn't pan out for whatever reason. And now we're in this weird situation. So I think in a perfect way, you know, dude, I wrote when I first started this gig, I wrote a fairly misguided article, which, to be honest, now reads more like what they should have done. I wrote a misguided article that said something like, Microsoft is following Nintendo into the future, not Sony. And my argument was that Microsoft are looking to build up franchises like with beloved characters and stuff like Nintendo have done, which is why they brought back Killer Instinct and stuff like that. And why they celebrated Battletoads in Killer Instinct, because they want to, like, call back to those characters and build them up and, like, you know, have a sort of pantheon of Xbox lore. And I had this sort of vision that they were going to try and do that, and it feels like, for whatever reason, that just didn't happen. And maybe you know, I was just, you know, wishful thinking and stuff like that. But I do think Microsoft probably wants to be there, which is kind of like why we hear in Fable's going to come back, and why you know, they're nurturing Gears and Halo. And to be honest, why Crackdown has been delayed so much is because they don't want to kill the franchise by releasing a mediocre game. I think they want Crackdown to be up there with those other games. And, like, yeah, people are annoyed about how long it's taking, but it's like, if you release a bad Crackdown, it's going to kill the franchise.
That's it for the franchise. That's the thing. Like, they don't, like, despite what they say, they don't want these one and done games. Like, they're built with the intention of making more. They're not built with just making one game and that's it. So, like, they want Crackdown to be a thing. They want Crackdown to sell well so they can do Crackdown 4. They wanted Rise to do well so they can do Rise 2. But the problem is it didn't. And that's kind of hurt them this entire generation. It's probably one of the biggest blunders of this gen. So, yeah, Crackdown 3 will probably be delayed until they can get it right and it comes out and it's actually good, right?
Yeah.
Shout out to Jason.
I prefer that. I prefer that. If you're listening, Microsoft, delay Crackdown forever until it's good. Don't release it half-hearted. Please delay it forever.
And shout out to Jay Fonzarelli for the super chat. He's like, for my future game share buddy. Yeah. Sam wouldn't. If Sam's listening, he'll probably like have daggers at you right now, being like, "Wait, he doesn't want to lose all those games, you know." Like, but yeah, Yeah, delay Crackdown to 2019 if you have to. Do it.
Do
Do
it.
it. Do it. Do it. People, take the PR hit. Take the PR hit. Yeah, you know is going to happen.
We're all just playing Fortnite, guys. We don't need
don't. You know
Crackdown.
what? Better yet, don't even show Crackdown at E3. Just give Sumo the time they need and come out swinging in 2019 with the great game.
Yeah,
Do it.
and then hire me and Rand because clearly we know everything that they should do.
Yeah.
Clearly we know everything about the game business, and yeah.
Face wants to know: will Shadow of the Tomb Raider be shown on Xbox E3 stage or Square Enix since they're doing the press conference? Both. I would imagine both.
That makes sense. I'd imagine both too.
Yeah, I would imagine it'd be shown off first at Microsoft's, and then once again maybe a different demo or something at Square Enix's, which is another thing. Yes.
Are you excited about that game?
Tomb Raider, of course. I love Tomb Raider.
Fair enough.
I'm excited. I like Tomb Raider a lot. I like a lot of games, Jez. I don't know if you know this about me.
Hang on. There was some game that you didn't like that I thought you were ridiculous for not liking. I can't remember what it was now.
It probably doesn't exist.
I don't know. I can't remember. I'm sure I'll remember next week and then call you out. But never mind.
So next doctor wants to know: they keep delaying Crackdown but cancel Scalebound and killed Fable. My God. Well, you see, they already canceled Scalebound and Fable for whatever reasons. And I always hear this come up online about like they're gonna cancel Crackdown. They will not cancel Crackdown. They will delay Crackdown till 2025 if they have to. It will be delayed forever. They're not going to cancel it because they see Crackdown as a core franchise to Xbox. And if it happens that Crackdown needs to be delayed to 2019 or 2020 for it to be right, then it will be delayed until those years. It is not getting canceled, despite whatever you think. And if it doesn't show up at E3 this year, it's still not getting canceled because they won't do it. Trust me on this. They just won't.
Yep.
What else is going on in chat? We'll get one more, and then we will get out of here because I only have like a couple weeks left of school, and then no more school for the semester. Loon Smile wants to know: Rand and Jazz, when the MCC patch finally comes from 343, will he get back into the multiplayer? I'll check it out for sure. I love me some Halo. I'll check it out.
I suck at Halo, but I'll still check it out because I'm just curious, I guess. There's this whole argument about Halo that I'm not because I'm not a big Halo guy, but I'm sort of aware of it, where people argue about whether the modern systems with the vaulting and the sprinting is better, or the classic sort of I don't want to call it limited, but that sort of more you can only really call it classic gameplay, without being offensive. But so Rand, I want to know, where do you fall? Do you prefer the classic gameplay or the Halo 5 Call of Duty gameplay?
I enjoy them both. I loved Halo 5's multiplayer. I'm not that stickler. Like, I think Halo should stick to, it should have shields, should have weapons on the map. I believe in those core principles of Halo. The sprinting, I didn't really have a problem with. I didn't have a problem with the clamber and stuff. I just love Halo multiplayer, and I felt 5's was really good. Halo 2's being the best, but it is what it is. Like, my issue with 5 was the campaign. I want the campaign to be better. And hopefully it is with the extra time of development, that it can be a well-rounded experience. Now, for the MCC, it's great that they went back and fixed it, but once again, it never should have came out that way. Never. This doesn't excuse them for releasing a broken game back in 2014. Yeah, great, they're fixing it in 2018, sure, but the Master Chief Collection, as great as a value bundle it is, having all the Halos there and stuff, right? It is one of the biggest blunders of this generation. Maybe the worst game launch of all time. The fact that...
See, this is the thing. I played... Again, I'm not a big Halo guy. And I'm not a big Halo multiplayer guy. But I played the Master Chief Collection campaigns. And I thought they were great. Like,
no, the
campaigns, nothing wrong with the campaigns, right?
Yeah, no, the campaigns were fine, but the
Right.
multiplayer, like this was Halo's multiplayer, and they screwed it up so bad. It was completely inexcusable for what they did to the franchise. And they're calling me right now. 343 Bonnie Ross is on the phone calling me like, Rand, you better shut up. Don't you be talking about Master Chief Collection like this. But I mean, it has to be said. They fucked up so bad with Master Chief Collection that it's great they're fixing it now, but it's like, dude, like part of this goes with the building the studios thing is like, should have been doing this a long time ago. Should have never have launched like that back in 2014. You should have been building studios years ago.
No,
You know?
I wonder if this was another Myson thing, and I'm not gonna. It's really funny, you know, that I seem to be blaming him for everything, but you have to wonder because the timing of the announcement, right, of them saying, yeah, we're gonna fix that stuff, it coincides a bit, right, with Phil being promoted, right, and I know for a fact, right, that Meyerson was involved with decisions Xbox were making, and you know, I'll tell you this, right, Meyerson, even though Windows Phone was dead, Meyerson forced the Minecraft team to port Minecraft to Windows Phone, even though they didn't really have resources for it, and no one was playing it on Windows Phone. That was 100% Meyerson, and I know that for a fact. So I know that he was involved with the decisions Xbox were making. So I have to again wonder if Meyerson was just saying, nah, just leave it dead, work on Halo 6, blah blah blah. You know, I don't know for sure, but this is why I harp on this guy, because I hear these things from these sources, and it's like, wow, it's no wonder everyone in the Microsoft blind slights this guy. They got a hashtag for him. Microsoft employees have a hashtag for Terry Myerson. Terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I know some of the particulars behind the Halo stuff, but I'm not going to say anything about it. It's just it's a sad situation, one that never should have happened, one that hopefully never will happen again. But what a disaster that was. So yeah, hopefully they fix it. I'll check it out. I do love me some Halo. And with that, we're going to end the show for today. We really appreciate everybody tuning out, talking in chat, all the super chats, all the likes, and even the dislikes, because we have 10 of them. So we appreciate those dislikes as well. If you if you enjoyed the show, make sure you give it a thumbs up. If you are new to the channel or new to the podcast, make sure you subscribe. Thanks for hanging out with us on YouTube as well. If you're listening to this later on iTunes or Google Play or wherever else, we appreciate all the support. Jazz, you mentioned an article you're working on. You want to plug it?
I just worked on an article yesterday, just earlier today rather, just talking about like what can we realistically expect from a new studio. There's no real information in there. It's just like a fun little speculative piece. Other than that, I've got a bunch of Windows 10 how-tos. If anyone's interested in that, no, okay.
Yeah. You know, where is Inside Xbox, Jazz? Where is it inside Xbox?
Oh.
It's supposed to be having one for this month. Is it next week? They haven't said anything yet.
Clearly, they're waiting for timing on that. Maybe to coincide with State of Decay's launch. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess it's possible. It's more than likely next week. I can't see it being the week of State of Decay, or maybe it is. Either way, we appreciate everybody. Hope everyone had a good time. And we will see everybody next week for another episode of the Xbox 2. And we are out of here. Later, guys.
Hugs.